Om Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Dhum Durgaye Nama. Om Dhum Durgaye Nama. Om Dhum Durgaye Nama. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Nama. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Nama. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namah. Om Aim Saraswatye Namah. Om Aim Saraswatye Namah. Om Aim Saraswatye Namah. Om Om Brahmanandam Param Sukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Tandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimala Machalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna Rahitam Satgurum Tam Namami. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Namaste. We gather here in the festival of Navratri. It's a spiritual festival, yoga festival, and everybody wants to know the origins and the historical details about the festival, and it has to do with the three goddesses. And these three goddesses have each 3 nights devoted to their worship and their propagation, and that equals Nav, 9, Navratri, 9 nights, Ratri, 9 nights of this goddess festival. Come again? Yoga and gods and goddesses? Here we go. We got this religious yoga happening. Is yoga a religion? First question. In the gym, instructor says, of course not. It's for stretching and it's for breathing, maybe relaxation. But in India, go to ashram. It's the oldest religion there is. So what is it? Is yoga a religion or is it not? And so it all depends on what is your definition of religion, and reminding you that what is a science? A science is something that if you do the method repeatedly, you are supposed to get the same outcome. You test and you test and you retest. This science is the most evolved science in existence. The yoga science. So it's not a question of how old it is, which makes it relevant to our lives, but it's the fact that it is applicable to every one of our lives today that makes it valid. It's not the age of yoga. It's its applicability for every single one of us, regardless of where you start, regardless if you think yoga is a science or a religion. it's still applicable in your life. So it's just like when we say, if every human being forgot that gravity existed, would gravity still exist? There you go. So everyone has a yoga inside of them. There is a yoga for every being on this planet. And a true guru who we called out the divine, the goddesses and the gurus, the masters. We invoked them at the beginning of the satsang. Because it's those gurus and those spiritual masters who have guided souls since time immemorial to realize who they are. One question. First question. Who are you? We're like, what? I thought I knew who I was. I was told my birthday. I was told the time I was born in the place. I have these parents and all these friends, and this is who I am. Well, that I am happy and I am sad, and even these days, I am male and I am female, that even changes. So who are you really? So about this, that's just only this lifetime. What about the previous lifetime when you had a different name and a different family and different occupation and different attachments? Who are you then? Who are you now? And if you say, well, that presupposes the belief in reincarnation, do this. Think about the past. And when you take time by yourself to think about the past, you will not be able to come up with a time that you did not exist. You will have an eternal memory. And where is that eternal memory coming from? The past lives. It's not all from this life. You will find out. You cannot fathom not existing. Just take time, remember who you are, and that I am doesn't have a beginning at your birth, and it doesn't have an end at your death of your physical body. Remember, the consciousness is taking on experiences and storing them as impressions in your chitta, in your unconscious, subconscious memory. So in this unconscious, subconscious memory is the memory of not just this lifetime, but all previous lifetimes. You just have to sit and access it. It's accessible to you at any time. And now the point is not to let me see who I was in the past life. No, that's a distraction. But to gain insight, if you do anything with the past, all you do is gain insight. You do not dwell on the past, you gain insight, and you learn from the past. The past right now has no hold on you. You are constantly recreating your reality right now. So you can choose how you'd like to live your life, how you can choose your experience of life. So I have all these practical circumstances which are unchangeable. But who is experiencing the experiences? Who is the experiencer? So who do you have control over? You are the experiencer. So you just find out, who am I? And you find everything you need to know about this world. What is your purpose? Now that's the second question we arrive at, okay? So now you've understood and answered the first question correctly. Who am I? It is not this ego, body, mind, ego, personality, which repeatedly again and again, we make the error of misidentifying who we are. And that error is the cause of all suffering. All suffering is the origination of the I. Okay, so that I-ness, you take that I and you look closer and closer and closer at it. And what our ego fondly makes it nice, fluffy, shiny picture for everybody to see is actually a facade. And it is so fictitious. When you go look for it, it's not there. Look for the mind, and the mind disappears. Mind is an illusion, like a cloud in the sky. When you go after, it will dissolve. When you move the light of your consciousness, the light of awareness, the light of yoga, like the sun, and you shine it on that cloud, cloud dissolves. Again, what remains is the sky. And the sky remained unaffected throughout all coming and going of clouds, and heavy clouds and light clouds. All thoughts and all embodiments are appearing in your consciousness. And so to discover yourself as consciousness, as bliss, as knowledge, as existence, eternal existence, this all comprises the movement of enlightenment, self-realization. What is the benefit for me? Well, who wants to live a purposeless life? Raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand? No one wants to live a purposeless life? A life without purpose? How about raise your hand if you want to suffer? We're quiet. It's crickets in here. I don't hear anything. Nobody wants to suffer? Okay, so everybody wants to be happy. Anybody have found permanent happiness yet? Anybody's permanently happy? Now, the ones who have come forward as having discovered that permanent happiness within themselves, our society has put them as the enlightened category of souls. Okay, so we have just made a couple moves that I want to come back to. You tell me you want happiness, but you tell me that you don't want happiness that comes and goes, that anybody can take from you. You tell me you want permanent, real happiness. But that is called enlightenment, so you call yourself moving on the path of enlightenment. Now that's a purposeful life. But if you are not pursuing that goal and that purpose of life, you are living a purposeless life. So what are the purposes of life that lead you to self-realization? Because we can go in circles and circles and also go in the opposite or away from what we all have admitted to desiring for ourselves. Raise your hand again if you want to suffer. So nobody raised their hand. So we've all decided already that we want to put an end to suffering completely. Now, if that is your goal, if that's what you're looking for, then doesn't it presuppose that you look for what you're looking for in the right place, where it is found? And it is not found outside of yourself, it is found inside of yourself. Self-realization. That's what we're all going after. So whether we knew it or not, whether we were conscious of it or not, this is our purpose in our lives. Now, for everybody, it looks, of course, different, right? Because we have different talents and different skills, and we have different qualifications. And so there's a rhythmic, you want to put your life in a rhythmic way that you rhythmically and spontaneously and effortlessly and naturally move toward your goal. How do you guarantee that you reach the goal? You can put rhythm into your life, put yoga into every aspect of your life. And so, number one question again, Who am I? You answer the question correctly by studying the scriptures with a qualified teacher, with a spiritual master, who can show you the insights, who can teach you the insights and the secrets of this. Nothing else is being described but this. What is this? Who is this? What is the nature of this? How do I control this? How do I master this? How do I direct this to attain my goal and my goals? All right. So this is all learned then, first step. Now, second step, application. Application, pursuing the purpose of life. Four main purposes of life. First, dharma. Dharma is the ethical value of your life. You learn this as a youth. Our parents are giving us the foundation of ethics and morality in our beginning years. So this is a purpose in life. Ethical and moral purpose. But does it guarantee satisfaction, lasting happiness? It doesn't. Just to live a moral life, an ethical life, actually does not guarantee that you attain enlightenment, that happiness after which there is no coming down from, that achievement after which you've achieved everything, that knowledge after which you have known all. Doesn't guarantee that, just to live a moral, ethical life. So you move continuously in the next purpose of life, artha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma, artha means your material value of life. So we take occupation and job duties and responsibilities, and we work and we receive means, material value of life for our purpose. It is not for just eat, drink, and be merry and do it all again. Eat, drink, and be merry and do it all again. Eat, drink, and be merry. That's purposeless life. Or you're talking, you want that substantial fulfillment of why you are in existence right now. Just think, is it just to eat, drink, and be merry and do it all again and in an endless cycle of birth, growth, decay, and death, and birth, and growth, and decay, and death? Suffering, all of the miseries and sorrows that come with thinking that I am a wave instead of knowing that I am the ocean. This wave is ego mentality, this limitation, this separation, which causes us to think that we are different than anything else. Just take your body, for example. Your physical body is made up of the same 5 elements that this entire universe is made of. So where do you end and where's the universe begin? Ooh, okay, so we dissolve the physical barrier. Now, mind. Okay, if I say, okay, I'm not, okay, fine, I get it. I'm not the body. I must be something more. I'm the mind. Have you ever had any thought that only you created new? No. Every thought you've had has been evolved from millions of minds. The very language you speak has been evolved by hundreds and thousands of millions of people over the course of many, many years. Everything you've learned has been evolved over countless years by countless minds. So which thought is yours? Which mind is yours? Okay, so this, you go on like this, and your nervous system, your physical nervous system is channeling your mind. Channeling your mind, it seems localized here because it's associated with the ego. Intellect and ego and memory and all this is localized here. But where is your mind drawing from? It's drawing from what we call cosmic mind, or a universal mind. If you're a spiritual person, divine energy, cosmic energy known as Shakti. And here we have our goddess finally introduced, Shakti. Shakti is the reason we are all gathered here. We have all exercised Shakti, divine, feminine, cosmic, dynamic energy to come here, to arrive in a satsanga, to perform action, whether you are attending virtually or in person. Action was required, exertion was required. Who gave you the energy? What? Where did it come from? Shakti, cosmic energy. All right, so we're going to learn about this tonight. What about the desire to come to satsanga? Maybe I didn't have desire to come. Someone just told me to come to satsanga. What about your desire, right? Where did that energy come from? Your ego? The ego created that? No, the ego is not the source of your desires, energies that gives desire power. How about the meditation? How about the thinking? How about all the thinking you do to solve problems in your life? That is a divine energy. That is a sacred, cosmic, divine, intensely spiritual energy. The beginning of the movement. This is the beginning. Goddess is here. Goddess is starting. Goddess is giving you the means. Goddess has awakened you, and Goddess finally lifts the veil that is covering your eyes. Shakti, Shakti. Shakti means cosmic energy. So you have Shakti and you have Shiva, and these are aspects. You don't have to get caught up in names. These are aspects of one nameless and formless truth. And you can call that truth by whatever name and use whatever language you want. But just like the language changes, but the substance remains the same. You may melt down a necklace made of gold, and you make that necklace into a bracelet, and you make that bracelet into a ring. Now tell me, what is the substantial, what is real in and through all the names and forms? Gold. If you take away the gold, you have no ring, you have no bracelet, and you have no necklace without gold. So gold gives meaning, and it, all the name and function and form is all one thing that is real, one reality. And now you can, if you want to study it, you study and you start to separate that one reality. But that one reality is indivisible, and you are that reality. You are that reality. You are that reality. You are that one indivisible I amness. So you are both Shiva and Shakti. You are both energies inside of you operating to make everything happen. And it's all operating in this universe in perfect love, in perfect balance, and in perfect harmony. And so what are we doing in yoga practice? We're just nestling ourselves right into that flow. We're nestle ourselves right into that rhythm and cruise along the flow of Prakriti. This universe is operating through all of our personalities. This cosmic will, this cosmic energy, this thinking energy, this desiring energy, and this acting energy is moving through all of us. Now, what happens? We get stuck. We get stuck because of the ego. The ego is constantly taking you, separate you, take you out of that flow and plop you, and you dry out like a dry fish out of the water. And then you say, I'm spiritually thirsty, and you find yourself in satsanga. So we all, and you say, now, do I have to continue attending satsanga? After I've attended one satsanga, may I have to attend any more satsangas? Once I've heard the truth and realized the truth, isn't that good enough? Don't you already know now? If you've understood everything that I've already taught so far, if you've understood that clearly, now isn't that enough? Why do I have to continue coming satsanga and practice yoga, qualified masters? Is because repeatedly you have made the error that causes suffering. And so repeatedly you must correct any movement or any action or any thought or any desire that causes suffering. Okay, how far do we get through the purposes? First two. Dharma, artha, ethical value, moral value. Now it's the artha is material value. Third purpose of life, that remember, these are the four efforts all of us pursue. These are not just yoga teachings. Everybody pursues these four self-efforts. They're called purusharthas in Sanskrit. Purusharthas, self-effort. So these are the things that everybody does effort for. Now, what have we described is just if you stop short of your goal, fulfillment, enlightenment, happiness, which cannot be taken away from you, which doesn't wax and wane. If you stop short, you suffer. And you come back and you suffer again and you suffer again until you actually reach that which is permanent, lasting happiness, freedom from suffering. And that goes by many names. It goes by enlightenment, it goes by self-realization, it goes by nirvana, it goes by cessation of pain, kingdom of heaven, and so on. Third purpose of life, kama. Kama is your vital value, your social value. So we exercise our creative energy and we share our talents and skills in a dynamic way to promote goodwill and harmony in the world. So exercising of your vital value of life, social value. How else? Through progeny, through family, through children and grandchildren. And this is a vital value, social value of life, and all relationships with your peers and human beings included turns into a yoga. You make that purposeful. Every interaction. You can make it lead you toward your destiny, toward your goal, or away from it. So look closer at this purpose you are living for in your life and make sure that it is leading you to where you say you want to be led. Absolute realization. And this leads you to the final goal for every soul, the purpose of all life, the purpose of human embodiment, spiritual value. So you had moral value, you had material value, you had social value, and now you have spiritual value of life. And all of the previous three, they leave you feeling, I'm not just telling you, you feel it, they leave you feeling empty. Not actually, okay, not empty, not fulfilled, we'll say. Not completely satisfied, not completely, permanently, absolutely happy. Because otherwise we would be enlightened. So the enlightenment that we all are seeking is the end goal of our whole lives. That spiritual value of life. And it gives meaning and purpose to all of life. But without that, life feels purposeless and meaningless. Just come back and do the same thing, but suffer in a different way. Same suffering, again and again and again, but it's just a slightly different way. So, end of all suffering, spiritual value of life, 4 purposes. Live a purposeful life. Make sure that every effort you engage in your life is going to give you the life that you want to live. And if nobody's raised their hand to say, I'll risk unhappiness and suffering for a little bit of time. Nobody even wanted a fraction of it. Suffering, right? So make sure that that's in view. You keep the ideal in view at all times. Propagation of this movement in your life, as we started to mention, is due to the dynamic energy that is manifesting through your personality. And I mentioned these 3 energies. First is Kriya Shakti at your navel center, at your solar plexus center. So if you measure 4 finger widths below your breastplate or sternum bone, 4 finger widths below the last bone on your chest, and where your pinky is the center of your solar plexus, the nerve bundle. The solar plexus is a bundle of nerves, and this is the physical channel through which mind flows, through which energy flows. So they're called chakras. But you don't have to worry about chakras, and you just know that your energetic body, your mental body, is being channeled through your physical body. So to keep your physical body healthy means that the channels for your mind stay healthy. And when healthy vibrations and thoughts are flowing through your mind and through your energy body, you're promoting health of your physical body. And of course, vice versa. This opposite is true. So, next center, Anahata Chakra, heart center, which is the seat of your Icha Shakti. Icha, what does it sound like? Itch. You have an itch. So itch, desire. You want to itch. Scratch the itch. That's Icha Shakti. This is the seat of your desire. Secrets. One last. Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra, plexus. Not at the crown of the head, but at eyebrow center level, forehead center level. How can I feel? Don't look in the physical body. Don't have to stress and strain to feel Agya Chakra in your physical body. You already have a nerve plexus, nerves, mind is already flowing through that space. Now bring Agya Chakra, just the thought of Agya Chakra, which is the center where you not only overcome your mind, but you transcend time and space. Bring your awareness to this, and you'll unfold the energy of thinking, of the power of knowing at Agya Chakra, known as Jnana Shakti. So the three Shaktis, the three energies, or the three goddesses, Durga operates, the first goddess, operates at your Manipura Chakra. So overcoming the selfishness involved with our actions. It's all allegorical. It's a story. It's not historical. So Durga is, the storylines are all about overcoming demons that cause impurities in our actions. Born where? At the Manipura Chakra, the solar plexus. So you meditate on and propagate these unselfishness, spiritual strength to overcome anger, lust, greed, pride, delusion, and jealousy. You need strength to overcome those forces, which are described allegorically as demons. You need strength. So you invoke this strength in your actions to purify your actions through selflessness at your Manipura Chakra level. Now this energy starts to rise as you are awakening what is dormant within all of us. This Shakti, which is operating at all times, but it is dampened when you're not living consciously. When you pollute, for example, your body, it becomes a garbage dump. Crude way of putting it, but imagine you wouldn't just let a garbage truck full of garbage come and dump garbage on your bedroom bed or your living room floor. But what do we do with our bodies and with our minds when we're not conscious of what we're ingesting? We eat garbage, and it pollutes and poisons your physical body and your mind. No auto intoxication. Now you become healthy. This energy starts to awaken and rise, and it meets at the Anahata Chakra level and propagation of Lakshmi. That same goddess, remember Shakti, Shiva Shakti. It's a goddess. It's a goddess energy, but Durga operates here in Manipura Chakra level, and when your pranas and your kundalinis and your mind becomes more integrated, Lakshmi manifests at your heart in Navratri storyline festival and yoga. This is how it makes the scriptures, otherwise they would just say this energy at this chakra, one, done, finished. But all this story is to help your mind understand more and more about. So you learn about Durga, and you learn about Lakshmi, and you learn about Saraswati, and you learn more about who? Saraswati? No, you're learning about yourself. Remember, this was all a great symphony and a monotony about yourself. So who is the most interesting subject that you ever wanted to know about is yourself. Okay, so now Lakshmi propagates in your Anahata Chakra level, and this is seat of Icha Shakti. And finally, you have Saraswati, which is, so Lakshmi giving you material power and spiritual power. You need material means, physical means, to reach your goals, to attain that which you set out to attain. But how do you attain the goal of self-realization? What are the means? What is the material with which we will use to attain our goal of self-realization? Those are virtues in your heart. This is the blossoming of spiritual virtues emanating from your heart. At some time every day, bring divine feelings, sublime feelings into your heart. The seat of your feeling, the seat of your desires. The seat of all feelings and emotions. You have control over that. Energy flowing through there, through the power of yoga, through the practice of yoga. You can control the distractions of your mind by focusing the desires of your heart, purifying the desires of your heart. This is the secret I mentioned, is the why are we distracted? What is the reason why the mind is distracted? And the answer is because the mind follows the heart. The mind follows the heart. So if your heart is split up into a million pieces, guess where the mind goes? A million places. So to get control over your mind, look a little closer in the heart. Now, you've done so, energy has finally arisen and meets at the Agya Chakra level. The first eye, the seat of the intuition, where intellect is overcome, is conquered. Intellect is transcended. Because it sounds great if we can study yoga just for a long time. So I'll take a 10-year break and just study and become enlightened. Intellectual understanding alone does not give you the experience of enlightenment. So it's just not about sounding smart or sounding wise, or how many scriptures can you rattle off the top of your head? How many shlokas, right? It's not an intellectual pursuit, enlightenment. You use your intellect to purify that reasoning faculty of your mind. Because if the problem is I don't know that I am the Atman, and I am this self that the masters have all told me, and all scriptures and all spiritual traditions and all religions have been pointing to that self, that truth. But if I don't know it to be the case, then what's the only solution to ignorance? Knowledge. Knowledge is all you must bring to overcome ignorance. And where does the knowledge need to be? About something else that you're not ignorant of? No, the knowledge needs to be about that, exactly about that which you are ignorant of. So you want to know something about the world and about, geography? The knowledge has to be about geography. And if you desire knowledge of yourself, knowledge must be the nature of self-realization, which is the practice of yoga. Study yoga, purify your mind, purify your heart, become more skillful in your actions, more unselfish in your desires. This is all a study of yourself, evolution of your own personality. The goddesses are there operating through your personality, evolving through you these Shaktis, through your action, through your desire, and through your thinking and knowing. So this creation, this creative energy also has a potential side, an unmanifest side. an unseen side. That's called Kundalini. Kundalini. It's described as a coiled serpent because of dormant. When you're coiled, its energy is latent, it's dormant, and then releases. And it is depicted allegorically again as this serpent, female Kundalini Shakti serpent, spiraling up your spine and through the chakras, through all those energy centers, awakening them, purifying you. You become wiser and wiser and wiser and wiser and wiser until that coiled serpent energy, Shakti, arrives at the crown of your head, abode of Shiva, Sahasrara Chakra. Wow, that sounded dramatic. There's nothing dramatic about it. It is what happened. Feminine and masculine united. Yoga happened. That's all that happened. Kundalini movement, ascension, awakening of your Kundalini is duality becoming non-duality. And so long as you're able, your mind as your mind integrates this wisdom, you are ascending through the steps of wisdom, ascending your dynamic, your potential Kundalini awakening. So, goddess, Navratri Festival is operating through not only your life in a dynamic way, but also in a subtle, unseen, unheard, mystic, spiritual way. So we'll conclude with a story. This story comes from the Devi Bhagavata. The Devi Bhagavata is central scripture that details the glories similar to what I've described to you today. Glories that are given a storyline and given names in Sanskrit and all these flamboyant details, but it's all about you. So it's a code, and so you just the gurus, masters, are His Holiness Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda and His Holiness Sri Swami Shivananda, and all sages and saints have made the ultimate sacrifice for all of us to receive the full sky of yoga, that not a single particle and fraction of that sky is unillumined by the light of wisdom. A fully illumined soul is required to lead you to fully illumine your soul. And if you do not understand this, just think about how it works in the mundane reality. If you want to become a lawyer, you start off as assistant, paralegal, you learn from a senior partner in a firm, or somebody who's practiced over and over and over and over, who has direct knowledge and direct experience, who has attained a certain degree of mastery, perhaps. You want to learn how to cook? Learn from a head chef. Accountant, finance, CFO. So you learn, why wouldn't the same thing apply in yoga? Why wouldn't the same thing apply in spirituality? So I acknowledge the role that the guru and the teacher and the spiritual preceptor has played in your life to have even drank one drop of this yogic nectar. Imagine the work of countless sages to squeeze the scriptures, wring them out so you can have that which is most essential today. Devi Bhagavad. The story goes like this. Narada. Narada is an enlightened sage who attained his enlightenment through his devotional movement. River of the ego unites with the ocean of devotion. Narada let his river of the ego melt into a steady stream of devotion and emptied into the ocean of devotion, merged with the ocean of devotion. So that's Narada. I'm just detailing the characters in the story so you know when they're mentioned. And Vishnu in this story is the Lord of the universe, is the God, the maintainer and sustainer of the universe. Remember, everybody understands with maturity according to their own concept, understanding, and faith. But as I mentioned, these are just names for aspects of one nameless and formless reality. This character in the storyline is Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu's consort is, and his partner, his consort, is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is Shakti, divine feminine, goddess, and Vishnu is going to represent the divine masculine, God. And what is happening here in your personality and in the world is governed by, is an operation, as you've learned the entire satsang, by Shakti, by nature, by the feminine energy of this universe, is why we have material objects and why you have been, and why you've encountered a yoga teacher and yoga teachings. All been due to Shakti. So you want to understand this Shakti. You want to get to know this Shakti, who is operating through this personality on every moment. What is my power? What have I been given? What tools do I possess which I have not utilized yet thus far? Infinite ones. And who shows you them but countless? Where do you find these powers? You find them detailed in the world's largest body of literature, the yoga teachings, the yoga scriptures. One of those, Devi Bhagavata. Narada goes to Vaikuntha, where Lord Vishnu is living with Lakshmi. And he encounters and greets Lord Vishnu. Everything's normal, but right as he's about to see Devi, Maya, Lakshmi, the goddess, just as he's about to see the goddess turns away from him and puts a veil over her face. And he's like, sorry, Lord Vishnu, is there something wrong? Like, did I do something? Did I say something, kind of thing? I'm just paraphrasing now the scripture. What was that all about? He wants to know. Why did the Devi, why did the goddess turn away from me, I am pure-minded, I am a devotee, I am an aspirant of God, self-realization, God realization. I want to empty myself of ego. Why me that she turns away from? Who has developed merit, and good standing and endeavors for self-realization. What have I done that can displease the goddess? The Lord Vishnu says, Sage Narada, the ways of the goddess are mysterious indeed. Even so, one does not know the subtle delusion that operates in one's unconscious. Supposedly enlightened, supposedly smart and devotional, but there is a question. Why can I not experience this cosmic energy fully in her essential form, in her true form? Why does she ever veil herself from me, hide herself from me? Vishnu says, mysterious are the ways of the goddess, of the Devi, of the Shakti. And similarly, one does not know the operation of delusion that's going on in one's own mind, in one's own subconscious, unconscious. And Narada's like, well, tell me already. Well, like, tell me. I want to see the goddess. Can you show me your Maya? Speaking to Brahman, show me your Maya. Show me your divine potency. Show me your manifestation. And Vishnu says, very well, then I'll show you. Just wait a little moment. I'll show you, I'll tell you soon, and I'll explain everything. But first, let's go for a ride. Let's go for a joyride, he says. This is one of my favorite parts of the story. So you maybe know that when something is going to be shared to you and a certain space has to be created for that really to sink in, like, all right, I get it. I'll tell you in a second. Just follow me, right? Anybody ever been there before? Your friend, you're someone who you inherently trust, someone you trust with your life. Just trust me, follow me. Let's go for a ride. So Lord Vishnu says, let's go for a ride. And he invokes Garuda, the eagle, giant bird. Garuda comes and he picks them up. Eagle takes them across the blue sky, and they come into an enchanting place where there are crystal clear streams and trees laden with blossoms. And Lord Vishnu says, Sage Narada, let's have a swim and then relax. Divine pastime, all right? When we're talking about sattvic entertainment, we're talking about how do you entertain yourself in a pure way, in a way that promotes purity. You take a swim and relax. One of the ways. Okay, so it promotes sattvic entertainment, promote sattvic enjoyment, not enjoyment that is destructive on you or someone else. So, where are we in the story? We've arrived to the enchanting stream, and they're going to take a plunge, and Lord Vishnu says, Sage Narada, you go first. And so Sage Narada is always carrying a veena, a 4-string musical instrument. He's always carrying, he never goes anywhere without it. And so he says, Lord Vishnu, hold my veena. And I enter the stream. And as soon as Narada fully enters the stream and his head is submerged underwater, he transforms. And the whole transformation was complete and instantaneous. And all of a sudden, who is standing in the stream is a well-dressed woman who has no idea what her name is and no idea what she's doing there. Instantly transformed. And standing there bewildered at she's well-dressed but doesn't know her name. It's like, all of a sudden, King Taladwaja, hunting retinue, was passing through the forest and saw the beautiful woman standing in the stream, well-dressed. And he's like, what is your name? Who are you? You are so beautiful. She's like, I don't know my name. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing here. And he goes, won't you be my queen? Like, you'll be perfect. And so she's like, sure, because I don't know what else I'd be doing, so I'll be your queen. And they become king and queen, and she lives a royal life with the King Taladwaja, and they eventually bear 12 sons in a row, back to back to back to back to back. And you see how the scriptures, the rishis, they keep your mind interested with the stories, but giving the profound mystic insight afterwards. And so they're now married, and king and queen, they have 12 sons, and this woman is actually Narada the whole time, but she has no idea that she is Narada, actually. And she actually takes on, because she didn't have a name when the king found her, so he gave her a name, and it became Saubhagya Sundari, Sundari Saubhagya. So Sundari is now the queen, and she's got 12 sons, and she's just busy looking after the birthdays and the sickness and the celebrations and the quarrels and all the things that we look after as a householder, right? Is busy, just soccer practice. And all of a sudden, this enemy comes to the gates of the kingdom, and King Taladwaja's sons and his generals have to go fight this battle and fight this war to protect their kingdom and protect their livelihoods. And they end up getting beaten in the war, defeated. And actually, all 12 of her sons were killed in the battle. And the husband escaped with severe injuries, but his life. And so she's devastated, of course. Her whole entire family was wiped out in one battle. And so she's grieving, and she goes to the battlefield, and there she to see her sons who had just been slain, and grieves even more intensely. And just then an old ascetic yogi was walking by, and he says, "My dear, why do you grieve? You know, this is the nature of anything that is born must die. Anything that has a birth has a death. So not only is this completely normal and to be expected and part of a divine plan and part of nature existence, but grieving doesn't help the departed souls. Being miserable and being full of sorrow doesn't help the departed souls, doesn't help your soul." So this old ascetic, this yogi, wise man, he says, "Enter into this stream and perform prayers and sacrifices and rituals for those departed souls." And she does, and as soon as she enters the stream, emerges as Narada, and he sees Lord Vishnu. He looks up at Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu's holding his Veena, and Vishnu's like, "Why'd you spend so long in the stream? What took you so long in there?" This is the nature of Maya. This is the nature. There is a subtle operation which is inherently mystic, profound, spiritual, and it goes by the name of goddess. It goes by the name of Shakti in yoga tradition. This manifestation, this creation, which is responsible for all of this universe and your involvement in it, is just like this story. There is subtle illusion and delusion operating in our unconscious subconscious. And if you're not careful, you will live in 100% a purposeless, illusory life. All those experiences that sage Narada, we are all sage Narada. We are all inherently saintly and divine. And when we forget that, who we really are, we're transformed into a jiva, an individual soul. When we forget that we are that absolute existence, consciousness, bliss, Satchitananda, who you really are. When we forget that, you are transformed into an individualized soul known as a jiva, Sanskrit. And that jiva who is Saubhagya Sundari in the storyline, the woman, is wedded to the ego, who is King Taladwaja in the storyline. You become an embodied soul, you become wedded to your ego. And with that comes all kinds of suffering and all experiences of pleasure and pain that come with having, she was celebrating the birthdays and the anniversaries, but also the death and caring for the sickness and all so on and so on. So we think that all of life is for material purpose alone. And so we go after amassing possessions, thinking that this will guarantee happiness and freedom from suffering. But it ends up being all one big illusion. Isn't it? Isn't it? So when you enter into the stream of ignorance, the first stream Narada entered, stream of ignorance, he became a jiva, an individualized soul who became wedded to his ego and lived all this illusory lifetime after lifetime experiences, pleasure and pain, boga boga. And realized because of so much suffering, we all have suffered over and over again. And sometimes that suffering is enough to wake us up for good, to set us on the path of yoga and spirituality. Sometimes you suffer like this. So what happened with Saubhagya Sundari? Her whole kingdom taken away, defeat in the battle. Her whole 12 sons she cherished and gone, grieving. Found out the illusory nature, the temporary nature, and the fleeting nature of material objects, and all relationships are temporary. She comes to this realization, and guess who shows up? The teacher. Just as she came, just as she was ready, who appeared? The guru, the ascetic, walking by at that very moment in your life, wherever you are. It doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter what time it is. It could be Navratri, it could be any day is the best day to wake up. And she developed dispassion for the illusion and started to receive the teachings from the teacher. And the teacher told, enter into this stream of knowledge. And she enters into the stream of knowledge and emerges in her essential form, Narada, the sage, the enlightened. So you have two choices. You can either keep ducking into the stream of ignorance and unconsciously repeating the cycle of suffering through illusion within an illusion within an illusion, or enter into the stream of knowledge and pierce the illusion once and for all. Put yourself out of misery and attain the goal for every soul. With the blessings of the goddess and all gurus, sages, spiritual saints, and yoga masters, we invoke their blessings for peace, health, prosperity, and enlightenment for ourselves and for all. May we be granted the triple blessings of Shakti, spiritual strength, Bhakti, devotion, and Mukti, liberation. Om. Om Sarva Mangal Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Shantu Niramaya Sarve Badrani Pashantu Ma Kaschit Dukhabhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityur Ma Mritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.